Listen up, maggots. Due to recent events, I have come here to give you a pointer on humanity. First, some history. When we first met those hairless apes, we were incredibly frustrated. Why? Because their ambassadors were slow and dumb. They also demanded an infuriating amount of breaks. Some breaks were longer than entire negotiation sessions. At first we were reconsidering their classification as peers and contemplating whether their high muscle density would make them good manual workers. That changed when we noticed the pattern. 2 short breaks during negotiations, then 1 long break that effectively ended a session, followed by the start of a fresh session. This was baffling. Even more baffling was their tendency to start new sessions with actual comprehension of the prior session's topic. We started trying to create explanations. One was that humans were differentiated by castes. Maybe the ambassadors were the more physically inclined worker class, and their long breaks were to gather instructions from their more intelligent rulers. Well, we were completely off the mark. To make it short, most life on the human homeworld has evolved to be incredibly energy efficient. They spend most of their existence expending the minimum amount of energy, and then another good chunk hibernating. This means that human minds are uniquely incapable of concentrating for long stretches of time. This does not, however, mean that the totality of their capability is lower than the galactic standard. Most mental processing happens when a human hibernates. You think a human doesn't understand a novel concept? Wait until they have hibernated, provided that they actually give themselves enough time to do so, which isn't a given, and then try again. It's likely that they will suddenly understand. Now, that is nice and all, but that's not why we are here. The actual meat of this spontaneous lesson is the other side of Earth's uniquely erratic fauna, their reflex boosters. Yes, reflex boosters. The whole military-grade package, as part of everyone's basic biological makeup. The planet was reclassified as a death world for a reason. When we saw their soldiers in mock fights, we initially assumed that these reflex boosts were hardwired biological reactions to offset their otherwise lacking speed. We were only partially right. As it turns out, those patterns are not hardwired. There are patterns that were hardwired by evolution, but their combat patterns were consciously developed over millennia by a wide variety of warrior cultures. At their most basic, their reflex boosters allow humans to record a movement pattern and burn it into their nervous system, which allows them to easily outpace their own mental ability to coordinate their bodies. This is why human music is so ridiculously fast. No, they don't cheat. They really do play that fast, even though their species is normally so slow. This is also why you have standing orders to not engage a human in melee. You won't even see their strikes coming, while their usually slow reactions will be replaced by tailor-made scientifically optimized combat engrams that make full use of their physiology. Anyway, this revelation caused quite an uproar. As it turns out, multiple species had developed reflex boosting technology for their Spec Ops teams. Documents that are now declassified show us that various militaries were scrambling to reassess their threat rating of humanity in case of terrestrial warfare. Nowadays this is common pool tech, but it's still not quite at the level of Earth's fauna. That was already an upheaval, but then we found out that there's layers to this biological quirk. As a stress response, Terran fauna will auto-inject a stim cocktail. Again, military grade. This increases both speed and focus, and also puts an animal's musculature closer to its peak performance level. And that's before the fight-or-flight response kicks in and unleashes the full power of a human's car-lifting musculature. You thought fist fighting a human normally was bad. Try to fight a completely terrified but well-trained human. Impressed yet? Well, here comes the fun part. Humans are persistence hunters. They are not built for burst movements by the standards of their own world. Did you also know that humans keep medium-sized ambush predators as their pets? And that smaller animals are even faster thanks to shorter neural pathways? You already have standing orders to not enter a human's home. And if, for any inane reason, you do end up ignoring the command, here is one that you will not. Do not antagonize the cat. The next time I see one of you slugs even so much as look at a cat, I will personally ensure your execution. You will not be allowed to continue humiliating our species in this fashion. At least have the decency to die by your superior's hand, not that of Mr. Fluffer's. Class dismissed. Author's name and the link to original text is in the description.